Premiership final combined 23-man squad. It's finals day and it's history. I've talked a lot in the build-up this week to Bath against Leicester about the history of this fixture. That seems to have been one of the big narratives about it, which I absolutely love as much as anything, because that is, for all the talk of breakaway leagues, for all the talk about which is the best league and comparisons with the URC and stuff, the one feather in the cap of the Gallagher Premiership is the depth of history between some of these clubs. The fact that some of these fixtures have been going on for 150 years, and this final at Twickenham, a sold-out Twickenham, which is amazing as well, taps right into the history of the Premiership, which I think is its most valuable asset, and it has to flex it. And so it's been really, really good to see that happening this week, and of course happening on this channel. And I would have brought more of it for you yesterday, had it not been for the fact that the internet was down in Greece. But here we are, finals day. So get stuck in, please. If you love the Premiership like I do, hey, look, the realities are, and I mentioned this in a video earlier this week when I was talking about the potential R360 breakaway league. The reality is the Premiership is not watched nearly as much as international rugby. When I put videos up on the Premiership, they are not watched nearly as much as international rugby. If you love the Premiership and you want to change that, well then help me out. I'm trying. Drop a thumbs up on the video, leave a comment down below to boost the algorithm and to tell me what you think. Most importantly, hit subscribe as well while you're there. There is the Bath team, much as expected. The one selection, Miles Reid getting in to start, but then after the absolute beast mode performance that Miles Reid put in the semi-final against Bristol, just an unreal half hour. He was just going around taking names. I mean, I don't know how Johan van Graan could not have selected Miles Reid. If you want to reward form and you want to say, if you go out there and deliver, you will get picked, Miles Reid is your man. It's a strong bench. Obviously, no Sam Underhill is a big shame, but they are stacked. British and Irish line Will Stewart on the bench, and Springbok international Thomas du Toit starting. It tells you everything about the depth of Bath. And of course, a lot of the talk is going to be about Finn Russell up against Andre Pollard, an absolute box office matchup of the 10s. I'll come to my combined team in a minute and who I would pick. And Leicester Tigers, yeah, they're missing a couple of names. George Martin, probably the most significant one. And talk about players going around taking names. That would be his express job. But there are matchups everywhere. It's going to be really, really interesting to watch. The firepower on the Leicester wings, who they are primarily there to kick, chase and pressure. But we saw when they get opportunities. I hope that's not too loud, by the way. The cicada's making a proper noise because it's very, very hot. Did you know, here's a little fact for you, I don't know whether it's rubbish or not, but it's what I was told. You can work out how hot it is by the speed that the cicadas make their little noises in. It's directly, the hotter it gets, the closer together the noises are. There you go. Anyway, combined team. So if you could only pick one player from each team comparing shirt v shirt. So number one against number one, number two against number two, and so on. Who would you go for? Because in the loosehead prop, when I was doing a video the other day, I was sort of leaning towards Nicky Smith and talking him up, and I still would talk Nicky Smith up. And going up against Thomas du Toit, man alive, has he got a big job? But Beno Obano, is this his moment of destiny? Is this his redemption for the final last year and that card? All I know is he's been absolutely brilliant. And I was kind of thinking this, I was going, if Beno Obano was Welsh, I think he'd be starting for Wales. So I went for Beno Obano at loosehead prop, just an absolute wrecking ball of a rugby player, ball carrier. If he does his job at scrum time, which he has done this season, then they're in. Leicester's maul game is absolutely massive, both defensively and on attack, obviously because Bath are no mugs there at all. But Julien Montoya, just as an influence around the park and at maul time, attack and defence, so massive, and his arrows are always absolutely spot on. So I've gone for Montoya at hooker, although shout for Tom Dunn, who's been amazing this year. Thomas du Toit, best rugby player in the Gallagher Premiership for my money, even over and above those two fly halves you can see in shot there, Finn Russell and Andre Pollard. He might be the MVP of the league. Ollie Chesham, second row, Ollie Chester Toy. Beast mode activated for him in that semi-final, and I'm sure it's going to be more in the final as well. I think he's going to be in a British and Irish Lions matchday squad, and the way he's playing, you wouldn't bet against him ending up starting. Charlie Ewels alongside him, who has been sort of given a bit of stick by England fans. He's off the radar now. Does he deserve a shot back in with the players away with the Lions? I think, do you know what? He probably does. I'm not so sure he will, but he's been superb. So those are the two. Back row, Ted Hill, absolute machine. And I really, really want to see him starting for England this summer. Line out forward, defensively, and then an edge forward, popping up in those wild channels. He got the try against Bristol. So good at that role. Tommy Raffel, massive for Leicester Tigers. They have to slow Bat-Ball down, because if those big juggernauts get a rumble on, if Beno Abano and Thomas Dutoy and Ted Hill are moving on to quick ball, Ben Spencer just lifting it to them, or having the threat of that and then going out the back to Finn Russell to manipulate Leicester with kicks and get the ball wide to Ajomo and Redpath, who can distribute as well, then Leicester are in trouble. So Tommy Raffel, breakdown. I mean, it's a tale as old as time, and it's one of those rugby fundamentals. Quick ball, deadly. Tommy Raffel, he's going to have the game of his life. Number 8, Ollie Cracknell. What a player he's been. I mentioned this the other day. Leicester haven't missed Jasper Wiese, which is an incredible thing to say, because he's one of the best number 8s in the world. And he was the absolute ball-carrying focal point for Leicester. Sometimes all you need is an opportunity, and he has stepped up and just owned the jersey, made it his, and been brilliant ball-carrying focus for Leicester. So look at that, 4 and 4. 4 Leicester Tigers, 4 Bath. This is first v second. It is the 2 best teams. It is the 2 best packs. And look at that international quality, 1-2-8 in that pack. I cannot wait for this game. Behind the scrum, I go Ben Spencer and I go Andre Pollard. So again, 1-1. Ben Spencer outside, sort of on the periphery with England, never given a shot. Harry Randall is injured now, and he's up against a man who you would bet at this point is going to be starting for England in those games against Argentina. Ben Spencer, he's got a point to prove, he's got a statement to make, he's got another Premiership to win. He's been there and done it and won a bunch with Saracens, and just as with Bath now, they lost, now they're ready to win. Saracens went through exactly the same process and then ended up becoming a dynasty, and Ben Spencer you wouldn't bet against over the next few years, seeing him lifting a few pots. Already got 2 this season already. Andre Pollard over Finn Russell, such a tough call. I just think the guy has got the mentality to do it in Rugby World Cup finals, and in cup finals, scoreboard pressure, taking the opportunities, making smart, consistent decisions. But to give Finn Russell his dues, that is what he has been superb at. He is not a maverick 10. He is far more than that. He can control the game. He does push Bath around the park. He does it behind a really strong platform, and I think that may be ultimately, I'm picking Andre Pollard, but I think the best 10 is going to be the one that has that fraction of a second longer to make their decisions. And when you're behind the Bath pack, that may mean Finn Russell wins out the day in that particular battle. But just if my life depended on it and I had to pick, I go Pollard. Cam Redpath and Finn Russell have been a brilliant foil for club and country, an extra distributor, really smart rugby player, and a tough cookie as well, Cam Redpath. But that toughness, for me, I pick in the form of Solomon Ikata in the centre as well. What an absolute beast of a player he's been, carries so hard. Him and Ollie Cracknell give that focal point, win the gain line for Leicester Tigers, and the rest of their game can slot into place. So I go for Kata over Ajomo, although I want to see Ajomo for England this summer. On the wings, Will Muir, the horse, chases a kick like a dog after a ball in the park. He absolutely loves it. His work rate is off the charts, and his teammates will love him for that, and he can finish as well. And talk about finishing. Yes, Ollie Hassel-Collins has probably been the best winger in the Premiership this year, but you need a bit of stardust in a Premiership final. It was Freddie Burns when Leicester last won it with a drop goal at the end, but you just need a moment of magic. That guy can deliver 2 truly world-class finishes in the semi-final. Red-hot form right across the wings. Joe Sokina-Singh has been outstanding. Ollie Hassel-Collins has been brilliant. That wing battle, so good. For Freddie Stewart at fullback. Tom de Glanville, excellent player. Freddie Stewart has, I think, got some stick, become a victim of his own success. He's not a one-trick pony. He is just world-class under the high ball and at cleaning up defensively. Maybe a little slow in the turn, as Brian Habana would say, but he's got so much good stuff to his game, and he'll be a key man for England this summer. On the bench, this is where you could argue it swings Bath's way, because the heat that they have got on in the forwards, off the bench, 6-2 split, Van Veek, Will Stewart, Ross Maloney, Josh Bayliss, Alfie Barbary. I think they beat what their Leicester opponents have got, and I think that could be the difference in the game. The fact that Bath can go for 80 minutes, and you saw them crank through the gears, and in the semi-final, Miles Reed was the guy coming off the bench and just going out there and changing the game. And Bath's bench with British and Irish Lion, England international, one of England's best players, Will Stewart. They've just got another level of heat, which is usually what we've associated with Leicester and their squad over the years. But this is going to be heavyweight. This is two prize fighters going toe-to-toe. I think it's going to be close. I think it could be the clutch king, Andre Pollard, with scoreboard pressure. But I think the most likely scenario is Bath by less than a score. I'm going to go Bath by 5 and to win their first Premiership title and to maybe have the starting of a dynasty. But the cool thing about the salary cap situation is you can never tell or take that for granted, because it is overall as competitive as club rugby gets. And we're going to see the best of it at Twickenham. Bring it on.